What's good? It's your boy Fanon. All right, man. I'm gonna talk a little Terence Crawford today, man. There was a video came out of Terence Crawford, man. He was just in his gym with a couple of cats in his gym, just chopping it up, talking about how he's not getting credit by a lot of people for the fights that he did. Also, man, you could really tell, man, that the attention that Errol Spence gets from certain fans, man, really, I think is really bugging Terence Crawford. And then it also, though, and not an unrelated issue, was something that Bob Arum said about why the Manny Pacquiao Terence Crawford fight didn't happen. And he said it was because of him, that he killed that fight because he knew how the fight would turn out, right? That Terence Crawford would beat Manny Pacquiao, and he didn't want to see Manny Pacquiao get hurt. So I'm going to talk about those two things in concert, man, because this is what I've been saying about this is, if Bud wants more credit, then he needs to look right at his promoter, man. More than anybody else, he needs to look at Bob Arum. Now, before I get into that, though, hey, welcome back to the channel, subscribers. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. Also, we're going to do live stream. We do live streams about 10:15 a.m. Central Standard Time, Monday through Friday. So I hope you will join me. Going to do one today. Might be a little shorter today because I got an appointment. But I'll be out there most Monday through Friday, 10:15 a.m. And also check out the Patreon. Now, here you go, man. All right, man. Terence Bud Crawford, man, is one of the best fighters in the world, without a doubt, man. Without a doubt. And he goes on, but he's talking and doing something. He and his friends, man. Now, him, I got a lot of respect for. His friends, them cats behind him that was talking all. You can go check it out. I think it's on Fight Hype, man. It was probably up on his page as well. His friends doing all that yapping. I mean, dog, that's just whatever to the dudes doing all that yapping. But Terence Crawford talking about how he's not getting, how people look at his resume and say, you know, like Thomas Delorme wasn't anything, Julius Ndungo wasn't anything, Yuriokas Gamboa wasn't anything, and pretty much just going right down his resume, and any win that he gets all the way to Klimov. It is, you know, it's not a big deal. It's not, you know, he's supposed to win the fight or the guy's not any good, whatever, all of that type of stuff, right? All that resume dissection that people do. Now, my take on people breaking down people's resumes is that, man, I don't think that's fair. And I think Terence Crawford's 100% right, man. He beat the people that are in front. He beat the people that were put in front of him. You do not win belts at 130. You don't go to the UK, beat Ricky Burns, win the 135-pound title, move up to 140 pounds, beat Yuriokas Gamboa at 135, move up to 140 pounds, unify all the belts, beat cats like Felix Diaz, who's an Olympic gold medalist, Julius Ndungo, who had just beat two champions, in Europe before he fought them, right? Unify all the belts. You don't beat cats like, God, what is his? I think I said Thomas Delorme. You know, you don't beat guys like that, man, and not be a world-class, a great fighter, man. It shit just doesn't happen. You win the 147-pound title your first fight in. That you have to be a hell of a fighter to do what Terence Crawford did. And not only does Terence Crawford, you know, pass the eye test, and where you can look at this cat and see that he knows how to fight. You can look at it, you can look at what he's accomplished and know, man, look, people, you don't just do that if you are not a great fighter, right? So I've always rejected the idea that Terence Crawford wasn't a great fighter. But my position is this. One of the biggest problems with Terence Crawford getting his recognition is the fact that he works with Bob Arum. Now, for Bob Arum to let it out that he's the guy that killed the fight, right? Bob Arum said he's the reason why Manny Pacquiao didn't fight Terence Crawford because Bob Arum knew the outcome. Now, we know who the cash cow is for Bob Arum in Top Rank, especially when you comparing Terence Crawford and Manny Pacquiao. It's Manny Pacquiao. So the person that prevented him from having Manny Pacquiao's name on his resume was his promoter. was his promoter. Now his promoter can turn around and say he did it why? To protect Manny Pacquiao from Terence Crawford. But what difference does that make to Terence Crawford? Terence Crawford could have been the cat that beat Manny Pacquiao instead of Jeff Horn. Could have moved up in weight, fought for the WBO title, beat Manny Pacquiao, gotten a bunch of name recognitions for having beat Manny Pacquiao, right? Instead of it being Jeff Horn. But what was Bob Arum doing? Bob Arum was looking out for the fighter that he thinks more highly, that he cared more about. I can't say whether he thought more highly of him or not, but he cared more about, and that was Manny Pacquiao. The same way that Bob Arum looked out for, when they were at HBO, how Bob Arum looked out for Vasily Lomachenko more actively and more intently than he looked out for Terence Crawford. Lobbying the Boxing Writers Association of America to get Terence Crawford, to get Lomachenko Fighter of the Year over Terence Crawford, when Lomachenko had only fought one person in his own weight division that year, that being Jason Sosa, beat two guys that were moving up weight classes in Miguel Mariaga and a guy that moved up 2 weight classes in Guillermo Rigondeaux, got him Fighter of the Year, was very intent on him fighting and on it, Lomachenko getting a fight date on a date that the Boxing Writers Association of America was having their convention in New York, right? Saying things like Lomachenko was the greatest fighter since Ali. Last time I checked, Terence Crawford is a fighter since Ali. If the first person Terence Crawford needs to talk about not giving him credit is Bob Arum. It's Bob Arum. And I've been saying that. Now, at the same time, though, Terence Crawford was kind of shooting shots at Errol Spence, talking about what was on Errol Spence Jr.'s resume and how Amir Khan beat Chris Algieri, but people are trying to ride, on cats who beat Chris Algieri, but yet not giving Amir Khan issues. Look, man. Here's the thing, man. Amir Khan is not the problem. Is that Amir Khan can't fight. The problem is that Amir Khan can't take a punch. Okay, and if that's the best matchup that Bob Arum can get for Terence Crawford, man, look, it is what it is. The dude got sparked out in the first round by Breidis Prescott. He got knocked out by Danny Garcia. He got knocked out by Canelo Alvarez. It's just not something that people just don't see. Come on, man. You got Glass Joe, all kind of Glass Joe memes out there, on Amir Khan. But Amir Khan's a good fighter. But here, this is my thing about this resume stuff. Hey, man, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, right? But what doesn't work for the goose don't work for the gander. I don't believe in this. When you look at somebody's resume, man, that's only, you get objective facts out of there, who they beat, all that. It can give you some type of, it doesn't legitimize you. It doesn't mean that you can't beat somebody in the ring. There is the fact that Terence Crawford, that you can tear up everybody on Terence Crawford's resume. Terence Crawford's never fought anybody that's the best fighter in the history of the world. It's just what it is. Errol Spence hasn't fought somebody that's the best fighter in the history of the world. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't tell you who's going to win the fight between the two. But so it's kind of tough on me listening to Terence Crawford go off on people, rightfully, for second guessing his resume, but at the same time, second guessing the resume of Errol Spence because of the names that are or are not on his. I'll say that I think that Terence Crawford is a pound for pound best cat in the world. 1A, 1B. Just, it's hard for me to differentiate the two, Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, because all of the names that are on Canelo Alvarez's resume. But hey, man, the fact of the matter is, Canelo Alvarez got those names on the resume, and Bob and his promoter, Oscar De La Hoya, got them for him. There's nobody that Canelo Alvarez would want to fight that Oscar De La Hoya would say, no, you can't fight him. Or there's nobody, no higher priority for Oscar De La Hoya than Canelo Alvarez. But look, man, up until Manny Pacquiao signed with the PBC, Terence Crawford is the greatest fighter, can be the greatest fighter in the world, but he was a third-tier fighter with top rank. He was a number 3 fighter with top rank. ESPN had to push these cats from the outside looking in. ESPN had to push Bob Arum into pushing Terence Crawford. And there's no reason for it. This dude's a great fighter. He's from the United States, and these dudes aren't even from the U.S. Bob Arum is pushing cats that ain't even from the U.S. To the exclusion of Terence Crawford. You think he's going to force Lomachenko to move up to 140 pounds, fight Terence Crawford there? No. Wasn't going to force Manny Pacquiao to fight him. Not only did he not force him, he said he killed the fight. What does that mean? That means somebody was asking for the fight. To kill the fight, somebody had to ask for it. Either Terence Crawford was asking for it or Manny Pacquiao was asking for it. And I have to believe, dude, that Manny Pacquiao is the type of cat that would fight Terence Crawford. There ain't no punk in Manny Pacquiao, man. From what I can see, there is no punk in Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao would take that fight, man. But anyway, it's just interesting to listen to Terence, man. Hey, and I'm going to remain true on this. Look, you look at the numbers, look at how well the PBC is doing. Man, Terence Crawford would be killing it with the PBC. And those cats, there wouldn't be a promoter. Now, maybe these guys wouldn't fight him because they were scared, but there wouldn't be a promoter standing in between you and some fights. And if Bob Arum is willing to kill a Manny Pacquiao fight, how do you know Bob Arum isn't willing to kill a Errol Spence Jr. fight? What if Bob Arum just feels like, I don't know if Terence Crawford can beat him, man. I'm not so sure that Terence Crawford can beat him. So why don't I just kill that fight? See, tricky Bob. I'm trying to tell you, man. I'm trying to tell you. Y'all, I like Terence Crawford a lot, man, and I'm trying to give this dude every bit of the credit that he deserves. And I'm glad he's getting paid. He's getting his money from Bob Arum. He's going to be on pay-per-view against Amir Khan and all that stuff, man. Applause, applause, applause. But look, call it like it is, man. That dude signed up with a snake, man, and it's hard for me to ride with that. But anyway, it is what it is, and with that, I'm out. Peace.